All right, can everybody, I think everybody can hear me. Good rainy evening, November 14th. Hopefully it's just a little brief downpour here and there, and that's all. So thank you all for joining us this way. And the very first thing we're going to do, since there's a lot of us here in person, is say the Pledge of Allegiance. Flag is right behind us here. Feel free to join in.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Well, I heard people saying it. All right. And I'm going to do the, Dr. JJ's not here, so I'm going to do the roll call.
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, you're up there. Oh, I have the roll call sheet, so I'll just do it for you, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Bermuda Riviera, Beverly Heights, Birch Park, Central Beach Alliance.
Present.
Central City Alliance, Cooley Hammock.
I
saw Jackie.
Yeah, Jackie's there. They're all muted.
Okay. Oh, they're not. Oh, they can't reach. Can they talk?
They can talk. They just have to unmute their mics.
Oh, you can just unmute yourself so that you can let me know if you're present or not. Coral Ridge Civic Association. Well, that's me. Coral Ridge Country Club.
Here, Mary.
Okay. Coral Ridge Isles. Hi, Rick.
I'm
Coral
here.
Okay. Coral Shores. Croissant Park. I know I said that wrong. Dolphin Isle. Downtown Fort Lauderdale. She'll be here. Flagler Village. Present. Galt Mile. Golden Heights. Harbordale. Harbor Inlet. Historic Dorsey.
Present.
Idlewild. Okay. Can you tell I'm going fast? Idlewild. Imperial Point.
I see Ann Helmer.
Idlewild is here. Idlewild's
Okay.
on.
Okay. Imperial Point. I know Betty's there somewhere. Okay. I'm just gonna say Betty's there. Lake Air. Lake Ridge was here. Lauderdale Beach Homeowners Association.
They're on
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Lauderdale Harbors Improvement. Lauderdale Isle Civic Improvement Association. I feel like he's on there. Francisco. All right. Lauderdale Manors Homeowners Association. Laudergate Isle Civic. Melrose Manors. Middle River Terrace. Nurmi. Palmer.
Yeah.
Poinsettia.
Here.
Progresso.
You forgot the landings.
Oh, I must have skipped. It must have, it's the way my thing wrote it. Hello, Helena. I mean, Helena, sorry. Sorry. I skipped over it. Oh, you know what it is? In here it's called the landings. Here we go.
Sorry about that.
No worries, no worries. Rio Vista,
Present.
River Garden Sweeting, River Oaks,
Here.
Rock Island,
Present.
Sailboat Bend, Sunrise Intercoastal,
Present.
Tarpon River,
Present.
the landings I already got. I'll change that. And Victoria Park. Okay, if you're
I'm sorry, Carson Park is here too. I missed the roll call. I apologize.
Okay, no worries.
Thank you.
Also, I didn't hear you mention Gulf Mile Association.
Gulf's on here. I said Gulf Mile.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't say here. Sorry.
That's okay. No worries. I was very fast, so don't worry. If you're on here and your association wasn't called, then you're not in our records as having paid your dues for this year. So if you think that's a mistake, you'll have to email me and we'll take a look. Because I'm not always perfect, but we've gone over it, Melinda and I, several times, and I believe we've got it well under control. So let me know. Somebody has their hand over. Marcia?
Oh, it was me because I wanted to speak and just say I didn't say here. Sorry.
Okay, no worries.
Oh, I can
All
lower
right.
my hand and see. Okay. Oops.
All righty. I don't mean to really be rushing everybody, but I think, we're just all a little concerned about the ones that are here driving help. So, but right now I have our wonderful police. I don't know if they can they see him come over? Okay.
Want me to stand up there?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think you're fine where you are. Okay. I'm just not sure what the camera sees. So you all know, oh gosh, I just did blank. Our Sergeant Joshua.
That's me.
All right.
Hello, everybody. Good to see everybody here in person again, and those of you online. I guess to give you a couple updates of what's been going on around here lately. This morning we had our coffee with the chief, grand opening of the temporary police headquarters up there at Kaplan. A couple of people I see here, if I remember from this morning, I thought it went well. We had a nice turnout. It was good to see everybody, and I know I can speak for everybody at the police department to say we're excited for what the future holds. In terms of for some progress that we've made for the Northeast and the beach, most specifically, and I can try to answer questions from other places of the city and general information that I'm aware of. However, most of my information that I could speak on accurately would come from the Northeast and the beach. There, we're mostly battling a vagrant issue, criminal element of the vagrants that we deal with and we have a lot of complaints about. In terms of that, we did a walkthrough with Coral Shores and Coral Ridge on the 2600 block to Oakland Park Boulevard on the west side of the road, which is a lot of these condemned businesses, which is kind of the beginning of a super highway that goes from there down Oakland Park Boulevard onto the beach, which causes the Galt and some of the Central Beach as well. A lot of these folks kind of just travel back and forth, causing problems. We work with code to try to get all the fencing and lighting and everything correct to resolve that issue. That's in progress. Additionally, I'm excited to let you all know that if you've been driving around either on Broward or Sunrise and you see like a Walgreens that has or I think Target has it too, like looks like a generator with a light pole coming out and a flashing blue light. What those are is it's a camera tower that has very, very high definition cameras that are recording 24/7. Now, this is something that was mostly done by our private businesses up until this point. Remind me to talk about the retail meeting also. Anyway, while dealing with our private retailers that are also facing the same issues, just in a slightly different fashion than our residents are when it comes to the criminal element of these folks. The idea was kicked around, and I'm excited to say that we're having our first one delivered. I believe it's a trial run, but hopefully everything goes well, and I believe we can anticipate hopefully getting a couple of those for ourselves. We're going to deploy it first to try to help out that Oakland Park corridor. It's going to be going behind Truth Lounge.
Oh, good.
Yep, directly behind there. One of your residents was kind enough to give us a parking spot directly behind there. So it's going to go from Middle River down to Bayview on 30th Place. Hopefully gives us some good cameras, some good footage of anything that's occurring. And then the goal would be that it's going to be a force multiplier that we can deploy around the city. So if Melrose or Lauderdale Manors or whatever neighborhood it is that has a problem of a crime trend occurring, in addition to deploying additional officers and additional resources, officer power out there, we can deploy hopefully a few of these cameras that will not only provide 24/7 prevention, deterrent capabilities just by their presence, but also they will have recording capabilities that will tie into the real-time crime center over at BSO. So not only will it help us catch criminals in real time, but think about it, whenever we have one of these trends, wherever it is in the city, we can saturate that with camera footage. A lot of times we'll catch people coming and going, hopefully stop these things a lot faster. So I'm really excited for that. And then in addition to that, same kind of on the same line, same vein, we had a retail meeting, retail theft meeting with a lot of our big box retailers. It was like the 15 biggest ones that in the city, including Walmart, Marshalls, Walgreens, Target, Barnes and Nobles, etc. Dick's. The idea being we wanted to get with them, see what kind of trends they were seeing, because I believe for most of you could probably understand it's not a really far cry to understand that the same people that are committing these retail thefts that we read about both here and around the country, people just running into stores, grabbing stuff and leaving. It's the same people that are then going into neighborhoods and breaking into cars. So we're trying to strengthen our relationship with them, working on several different avenues, including misdemeanor case filing, which is typically done by the victim or the business themselves. There's a private business that we have a public-private partnership with that is they're hired by them, but they have a relationship with our detective bureau to help us find leads, which we can then turn into helping solve the crimes that occur, not only with the businesses, but with our citizens as well. So we're pretty excited about that. Am I missing anything that occurred recently? After that, we can open up I guess we'll go questions in the room first, just because it's easier for me to see and make eye contact with, and then we'll go out.
Sergeant, I think if you would share with the group the discussion that I was talking to you about lighting at the Ocean Park, about the percentage of arrests that are the release because there's no bond requirement.
Thank you. So yes, I actually just left the meeting at City Hall with the assistant city manager and the chief. And the purpose of this was to discuss what's the jail bond schedule that has occurred in Broward County. The idea was back in 2022, an administrator was put out by Chief Judge Cutter, sorry, I didn't mean to butcher his name one way or the other, where it's written down that due to jail overcrowding, all misdemeanor offenses and third-degree felonies were to be released prior to a first appearance with a judge. And just to give you a quick primer on how the arrest system works, officer witnesses crime or finds a victim of a crime, find the suspect, we then take them into custody, take them over to the jail, right? The only reason that the idea behind them being arrested and brought to the jail is so they can go before a judge who will read the facts of the case and determine if this person is a threat to society or a threat to the city or the public, at which point he can hold them or he can set a bond, correct? So what they did was, rather than, and this would be kind of, if anybody remembers the old like drunk tank idea, if you get arrested, you sit in jail overnight, you see a judge in the morning, they either will release you without a bond on your own recognizances, release on your own recognizances is what it's called, or they will set a bond for you. Now, the issue is the administrative order, the challenge that we're facing as the police was all the crimes that we would use to help battle some of these vagrant issues that we're facing. There's no bond, there's not even seeing a judge. They were literally being arrested, getting their picture taken and being released. This caused a huge problem for us because not only is it those people in your civic associations that were being arrested and then released back into downtown Fort Lauderdale immediately, which kind of defeats the purpose of it, but it's also every other city and municipality in the county that got to solve their problems by arresting them and bringing them to Broward County Main Jail in downtown Fort Lauderdale. However, that means if somebody got arrested for possession of PVP and was extremely intoxicated in Hollywood, Miramar, wherever, they got to solve the problem by bringing them down to downtown Fort Lauderdale. And there was no, this is not considered a crime that's risk to the public. So they were not held, they were immediately released. And now they could be quite intoxicated, potentially violent in downtown Fort Lauderdale. So obviously, as we work together as a community and as your government to try to fix this problem, we've run into this challenge where, it's the guy that's trying to bail water out of a boat. Every time we arrest somebody, we get to the jail, 3 more people get released right back into our city. So I'm excited to announce that Governor DeSantis implemented a law that will be coming into effect on January 1st, where the Supreme Court is putting out a statewide bond schedule, which will take the ability away from the local chief judges to set their own bond schedule. It will be a statewide bond schedule. So I have not personally got a chance to look at it. I'm hoping that it is quite positive for us in terms of, hey, if you have at the very least, a possession of narcotics, felony narcotics, that you'll be held overnight to start to make a dent in some of the population that we see occurring in our downtown that spreads out everywhere else. Like I said, I haven't gotten to see it yet, but it will be coming into effect on January 1st. And I pulled the data from BSO main jail. It's at a minimum about 15% of the population of people arrested are immediately released without seeing a judge. However, the data I got from BSO Maine is extremely skewed because it's not processed correctly. So we're working on trying to get some better data to see how accurate that actually is. But hopefully that part of the problem solves itself, and we can move on or solve itself with the new law signed in by Governor DeSantis. And then as a department, we're moving on to working with BSO to streamline that process to help out our officers even more so we can get back on the streets faster. So that's kind of our goal going on with that. And City Hall is helping us out with that. Thank you for their staff. I appreciate that.
Okay. Go ahead.
Does the
Yeah, is there? I don't know. Does it if they're facing this way and speak, does it record? Okay.
Should be fine.
Okay.
Except the whole.
Okay.
does the city have, or is the city considering getting those systems where they hear gunshots and they can identify the area where they?
So we have that. It's in most of the Northwest. I'm sorry, I don't know the commission districts. I just know the police districts.
That's 3.
Great. Okay. So most of the Northwest of Fort Lauderdale, except for the airport. Sorry. So we have that system in almost all of the southern area of the Northwest area of Fort Lauderdale. And we also are beginning to, they got it in a little bit of the Southwest as well, I think. Yes, so if not, it's coming. It's a great system. It develops a lot of leads for us. Sometimes we pop up on stuff really, really fast, and other times it's just a great evidence collection tool to let us know what's going on in the city, because not everybody calls 911 when they hear gunshots. That's for sure. It's a little hectic on July 4th, though.
It's called ShotSpotter for anyone that doesn't.
I think it's called that.
Yeah, it's actually a really good presentation if we're looking for a presenter in the future.
Right. Are there any, if you have a question, you can raise your hand on those of you that are virtual. We can see it on the screen if there are any questions.
Oh, is it least on it?
I'm not seeing any, right?
No question.
Can I ask a question?
Okay, wait, one more in the room question. Go ahead.
Question. I read something about this in the Sun Sentinel about the negotiation about returning people to the city that they were arrested in.
Right. So it's been talked about. I don't think any serious progress has been made on it. In this day and age, I know it's not great. I don't really want to talk about something I'm not too well versed on, but in my opinion, there's just a lot of liability issues that would come with transporting people that were immediately released from jail, and also just the logistics of how to staff that. I think it's kind of the roadblock that we're trying to do, but take that with a grain of salt.
Okay, well, thank you once again. Saw you this morning, see you at night. You should come over for lunch.
Yeah, right. It's been a long day. I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.
Thank you. All right. Should have clapped while they were in the room, I guess. All right, so next, we have a presentation by Dr. Peter Cruz, who's also a professor, which really makes me want to say Professor Dr. Cruz. Remember we had Major Dr. Slater from the police department? So anyway, and Dr. Cruz gave this presentation at the Charter Review Board meeting. And I thought it was really interesting. And I think this request, what he's going to talk about, came from the mayor at one point. The mayor said he was interested in knowing what different forms of city governments are. I think at least in the state. I don't know if it's more than that, but he can explain. And it, not that we're going to get any of these or use any of these, but I thought it was interesting. And just in case, I think it's really good that everybody have an idea the different forms of city government in case somebody presents something like that. You have a clue what they're talking about. So with that, Dr. Cruz, thank you very much for joining us. And I think you can screen share your presentation.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mary. And hello, everybody. As Mary was saying, my name is Dr. Peter Cruz. I'm professor at FAU, which of course is the state university for Broward County. And we have our main campus in Davie and our downtown campus on Las Olas. So I say greetings to you. I wish I could have been there tonight, but I'm in downtown West Palm Beach and the Bright Line's delayed and the traffic's delayed. So Mary was very nice to let me present this way. Can everyone hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. In early October, FAU was asked to talk about different forms of city government to the Charter Review Commission, which we did. And I just have a very short presentation, which I believe Mary is going to make available to all of you on the website. So you don't have to worry about making too many notes because I'm very cognizant of your time. So let me just go ahead and bring up my screen here. And here we go. All righty. When we talk about models of city government, I've talked about, these are the major forms that you find not only in the state of Florida, but throughout the United States. And there are three major forms, mayor, council, council manager, and commission. But within the mayor council form, there are several variations that I think are probably of more interest to you folks in Broward County. There's a weak mayor council form, a strong mayor, a standard mayor, and then the newer model that's come on in just the last few years is called the chief administrator model, or the CAO. The oldest form of local government and the original model of municipal government here in the United States is the mayor council form. And the variance between that is how strong is your CEO, your chief elected official? Is that person a weak mayor or a strong mayor? Or do we have the standard form, which is where a city manager comes in and has some role to play here? The weak mayor in Broward County is very non-existent. In fact, the only officially weak mayor city is Lazy Lake. Everyone else is council manager and just one other city, and I'll show you that in just a minute, is a strong mayor. Let me just talk a little bit about the various forms of how strong your mayor is going to be. Generally, in a weak mayor council form of government, the voters elect the city council and the mayor presides over the city council meetings. Generally, the mayor is not elected separately. It's just one of the city council members. That position rotates perhaps once a year. But the mayor at that meet will run the meeting, help put the agenda together, and serve as a representative of the city at public functions and things like that. But the city departments, such as police, fire, sanitation, parks, generally report right to the city council, of which the mayor is part. The opposite of that, of course, is a strong mayor. The voters elect city council members, and the mayor. Mayor is separate from the city council, runs separately for office. And the mayor does oversee the police, the fire, and the other departments that I mentioned earlier. The mayor, in many instances, in a strong mayor model, can veto actions by the city council. And in one case, and I'll just use one example because all of these have variations locally. These are just the general templates. You can have a little more of column A and a little more of column B in all of these mixtures, but this is the general outline here. For example, in the city of West Palm Beach, which is where I am tonight, we have a strong mayor. We've had a strong mayor since our charter was revised in the early 1990s. This mayor runs separately elected than the commissioners. But the commission can override the mayor's veto if all 5 will vote to overturn that. And that just happened recently on a marina issue that we were dealing with here in the city. So that's one check on a strong mayor and just one example of what could be a possible option. The council manager form of government, which is the most common, the city voters elect both the council and the mayor. The mayor is a member of the council. The mayor also presides at the city council meetings, but the new person here is the city manager. And the city council, under the standard council manager form, would appoint the city manager. And that person would be over police, fire, parks, all the major departments that the city would have. In a strong mayor, you can have a city manager, but usually the mayor hires and fires that person. And here's just another way to look at the voters come in, the city council makes policy, elects the mayor, the council can hire a city manager and appoint the heads of city departments who head up and who make the policy, carry out the policy that the council has set up. And here is it's very hard to see on the screen, but this is the chief administrator office model that's from San Diego, California. The mayor appoints the chief administrative officer. That person then has power over various departments. And what departments, it all depends on what the city and the voters decide they want to do. The difference between the chief administrative officer and a city manager is one of degree. It's how much power does the council and the mayor hand over to this position here. And I just offer it up. It's not present in very many cities, but it was developed probably about 12 years ago. And we see more and big cities adopting this particular model. And this little chart here basically tries to summarize what I was talking about in terms of what, in the far left column, the powers of city government. Who appoints the chief administrator? Under the council manager, the city council does. Under a strong mayor, the mayor does. And even a stronger mayor is also the mayor. Here, this chart says you have a strong mayor and then a stronger mayor. And the difference, Houston has a strong mayor, Denver has a very strong mayor. Who appoints the head of departments? And a council manager, the city manager does. Strong mayor conferencing with the council. And in the strongest mayor, you talk to the council, but you end up doing what you want to do. In a council manager form of government, there is no role for the city council in the daily operations of the department. And same for a strong mayor. and same for a stronger mayor. Advisory boards, city council appoints in a council manager form, very similar to appointing department heads, the mayor conferencing with the council, and in the stronger mayor, the mayor doesn't have to talk to the council at all for that. But in the big areas, preparing the budget, approving the budget, passing ordinances, under the council manager form of government, the city manager is, the council has 3 of those 4 functions where the city manager has the budget. And as we know, the budget is, of course, is a major point of power in city government. And so realize, of course, this isn't the rule. This is just what's out there now. And in any given city, you can have any one of these forms of government. It depends on what the city of Fort Lauderdale needs and wants. That's what that's what it depends on. Let me just talk briefly about Florida, and this is from the Florida League of Cities here. If you look at all the cities in Florida, the council manager form, that's the big blue area at the bottom, is the most common form of city government in Florida, almost 70%. And the next highest, which is about, I think it's about 28%, is the council strong mayor. That's the yellow, the mustard color. And then just a few smaller cities, and you can look at the legend on the right to tell you what those are, various hybrids of what I just talked about. So the council manager form is the most common here in Florida. And here, when you actually look at the number of cities that comprise that almost 70%, it's about 286 cities here in Florida. Now, I put this up. This is Broward County from Coconut Creek down to Wilton Manors, and Sea Ranch Lakes, strong mayor, Lazy Lake, weak mayor, and let's see if I missed one more, Plantation, the strong mayor. So obviously, the council manager form is the most prominent here in Broward County. And this describes sort of a summary of what I've been talking about of the various definitions. What I didn't talk about are town meeting forms of government. Those are traditionally the New England town hall meetings of very small, homogeneous populations, typically in small towns in the Northeast that, of course, Fort Lauderdale and most cities in Florida have grown way beyond that. But that is also listed as a form of city governance. And let me stop sharing here. That's really my presentation here. I'm not here advocating any one of the forms of government. In our city, in West Palm Beach, having grown up here, we had a terrible trouble with our downtown area. Our major part of our population lived in West Palm Beach at the time. And the weak mayor form of government just was not working in the opinion of the voters. So we adopted a strong mayor, and we still have that now. And Mayor Keith James is our current strong mayor in his second 4-year term. But we have had a renaissance. If some of you have been to West Palm Beach, you've seen the towers rising. We're not quite as tall as Fort Lauderdale, but I think we're catching up very quickly. That worked here at the time. Fort Lauderdale has done very well in general by having their current form of government. So it what works one place won't necessarily work somewhere else. So as the Charter Review Committee works forward, I think what kind of mayor, whether it remains the way it is now, is one possibility. And other people may come forward talking about we need a strong mayor. And you know, the strong mayor, I think I talked about this at the Charter Review Commission. The strong mayor works until it doesn't. If you have a bad person, then you're going to have a bad, strong person. We had a series of very visionary, strong mayors, and it's worked well up until now. Will it have to be that way all the time? I don't know. We'll just have to see how it unfolds. If you want somebody to clear away lots of roadblocks or perceived roadblocks to managing a city, a strong mayor is probably the quickest way to deal with that. But anyway, so that's all I really had to say. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer some of them, but I know I'm cognizant you've got a lot more work to do tonight at your meeting, so.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you. I really like that. And that will absolutely be on our website. So we can have that. There's a lot of information on there. It's kind of fun to look at it. I don't see any questions, right, Will? I don't see any hands up anyway.
On the screen.
I'm sorry, what?
There's one hand up.
Oh, yeah.
Jones.
Okay, go ahead, Christine.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. No, I don't. I'm on my iPad. I did something wrong. I don't want to speak.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
All right. All right. Go ahead, Linda.
Hi, Peter. Thanks so much. That was very interesting. I just did have a quick question. I know we're talking about forms of city government, but which, I guess, with regards to Broward County, if we were to put into this model, which one would Broward County be?
Well, yes, that's a very interesting question. Broward County, of course, has a county administrator, as does Palm Beach County. And in Palm Beach County, the mayor, which is, we call our chair of the county commission a mayor, which confuses everybody. But that position rotates every 12 months to another member of the county commission. But the county administrator is really the person that's in charge. And we've had our county administrator, Virginia Baker, for many, many years. And as we first African-American female as a county administrator, although you guys beat us, Broward County, by a few years with Brenda. But would you want a metro form of government? Miami-Dade tried that many years ago, and it was beaten back, as I recall. This was my late 60s, early 70s. I've grown up here and I vaguely remember that. A metro form of government, a consolidation under a strong mayor, I don't know exactly how it works. We're so different in our counties. The Western communities are in one state of mind, and the coastal communities, very wealthy, are in another. Is it possible to unite them under one strong mayor? I don't know. That's really another question and another research investigation. Some major cities in other parts of the country do have that, but usually it's consolidated city and county government. California has a number of them, for example. I think it depends on how far you guys want to think. If you're thinking just city of Fort Lauderdale, that's one thing. If you're dealing with Broward County, of course, you're going to have to deal with the county charter and the county commission and other political actors outside the city limits. So that's a whole other issue.
Yeah, I think we'll just stay in our own neighborhoods. I do see another question. John Burns, go right ahead.
Yes, Professor. My question kind of follows up on what you just said.
if the citizens wanted to make a change, how would they start? Because if you have to go through the charter review process, doesn't the commission, when the current commissioners and mayor have some say so about what the charter review committee discusses?
Correct.
So are there any success stories on how citizens do that?
Okay. Yes, I believe Mayor Trentalis appointed all the members of the current charter review commission, and it's a function of the city government, and it reports back to the city government. What ideally what's supposed to happen in the process is the public meets with the charter review commission when they have their meetings and provide public input and discussion at that level, and it's decided whether whatever they suggest is included or not included. However, it is subject to county commission approval. So when the package is finally ready to come back, the commissioners could take out parts of what were put in on that process. Then it would take a local ordinance change and a drafting of an ordinance to go on the ballot for the vote of the populace. The issue, of course, is that it's becoming extremely difficult in Florida to do that because there's very little home rule left. So that would be, if the voters had to go around the county commission, it's a pretty high bar these days. So the ideal would be to convince the Charter Review Commission to go along with whatever it is that is wanted, and to also talk to the county commissioners and ask them just to go ahead and approve it. And then the whole thing goes on the ballot, of course. But of course, at that point, it's either yay or nay.
So, not to step on anybody's toes, but the electorates, 10% of the electorates can petition for an ordinance to be placed on.
10%? Did you say 10%?
10%.
We got to get a lot of.
That's good. I'm glad I had a lawyer listen.
Okay. And here, Bill Brown here has a question.
Professor, thank you for coming on tonight. Great presentation. It's not a question, not so much a question about what was discussed tonight, but you mentioned home rule. At a later time, or would you be a subject matter to come in and talk about home rule and how losing the power of home rule to legislation, state house, what's the detriment effects of that to our community if we keep losing this?
I'd be happy to do that. It'd be a very short conversation because there's not much left. But talk about the process of what has transpired here, basically since Governor Jeb Bush through now Governor DeSantis, how things have been brought back to the state level and require state permission to do things that before you could do as long as you were willing to pay for it locally. For example, we have an independent Commission on Ethics and an independent Inspector General in Palm Beach County, and I'm serve on both of them. But that was put on by a local ordinance that was passed by petition, and we were allowed to do it as long as we paid for it. You cannot do what we did anymore. The government, the state has jurisdiction over ethics. They have a state ethics commission, and they can assert their right to not allow you to set up another one. But the ones that were set up prior to that change, they can't be taken away. Miami-Dade has public trust. You guys have the IG office there. We have both. Duval has another model like that. But those counties did this 12, 15 years ago. But yes, I'd be happy to come in and talk and more detail about that.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Okay, so I don't see any other questions. So let's thank you, Dr. Cruz. I'm glad that you stayed up there and didn't make that. You'd probably still be on the road if you're trying to get down here now. So
yeah,
smart. It was a good
hope everybody gets home safe, and thank you again. I enjoyed it very much.
All right. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Vanessa, did you have a question? I'm sorry.
I did. No, but I heard it at the last.
All right.
The commissioner.
You gotta go like this.
I know.
All right. And next, and we don't want to keep you too long. I'd like to introduce myself to you, our new city attorney, Thomas Ansbro. I said that correctly?
You did.
All right. And I also want to point out that we have Dwayne Spence here, who has sat in the chair of interim city attorney for probably far longer than he ever thought he would.
Yay.
Appreciate you and how much help you were to us in so many things. So I really do thank you for that. I really,
really great
smiling.
yeah, looks a little happier right now after 1 week.
I'm gonna get that.
I'm the one that's trying to.
What a relief.
What have I got myself into here?
So please, do introduce yourself. I think you worked for the city before.
I did many years ago. I started my career. I'm reluctant to tell you when, but it's way back. And I started it in the city, in the old city hall that's now an old city hall and gone. 76, to be quite honest.
Wow.
I started as a part-time prosecutor. In those days, they had all the cities had city courts, and all the city courts had jurisdiction of municipal ordinances and misdemeanor type of things, small things. They prosecuted those in the police department building in a courtroom. And that evolved. Laws were changed in Florida. You couldn't have those anymore. So they kept me as the city prosecutor and go to county court and do cases in county court. So I did. And I said, I'm not that busy here. I like it, but I could be paid to be busy and I need more work. So they asked me, would you like to come in and be an assistant city attorney - city prosecutor? So I said, I would like to do that. And I spent the next 12 years in City Hall, city attorney's office, and Dwayne turned the story over and over. But you could probably tell them. I got to do almost everything. I did litigation, I did trial work, I did appeals to circuit court, the Board of Adjustment, and the Planning and Zoning Board, and circuit court, and then to the 4th District Court of Appeal, and then to the Florida Supreme Court on occasion, the full arguments. I did cases in the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals, which is the federal court, and one to the U.S. Supreme Court where I did it on briefs. But I did, so I learned a lot that way. Then I was the attorney for the Board of Adjustment, Planning and Zoning Board, Civil Service Board. I created the first Code Enforcement Board. You're allowed to do that. And I prosecuted cases before the Code Board, which has now become a special magistrate system. And I also represented both the pension systems. So you can tell I was a busy little fellow there and learned a lot about the city. So when I left, I was the deputy city attorney and left after 12 years, went into private practice, and did the same things from private practitioner's point of view. I missed the municipal work and wasn't there, but I ended up at FAU for 6 years. Enjoyed doing that as an associate general counsel. And then after that, a friend of mine who was the plantation city attorney said he needed help in plantation. Could I come back and help him? So I did 20 hours at FAU, 20 hours for this guy at plantation until Dania Beach, then known as Dania. The city attorney went to heaven and they were looking for another city attorney and I applied for that. So I got that job and I remained there for 22 years.
Oh my God.
That's where I've come from. So that's a long run with a lot of different officials. I left that like say about 3 years ago. Then I began just doing code magistrate work for a number of cities, including Fort Lauderdale. And I enjoyed that. Deerfield, Boca, Coral Springs, a number of cities, but being the code magistrate and ruling on cases like which are quality of life things that you all deal with all the time. The properties are a mess, or vacation rentals, one of my favorite things of our existence. But you got to really see what it's like for the people, and hear from the people, and then try to do things on a local basis to help them with the codes and enforcement of codes. So when this job came up, I was encouraged to apply for it, and I did, and here I am, leaving Dwayne from it, and now I'm into it. And I remember the one statement from an FAU professor, he said, "You feel like the dog that caught the car." What do I do with this now? So it's a very remarkable job because it's extremely intense. Yes. Very busy. Yes. It's much busier than when I first came here, of course. It's got a lot more people, a lot more issues. All these neighborhoods, I remember maybe 20 of the neighborhoods. I've got like 40 or 45.
I think there's 60 recognized neighborhoods and probably 20, that haven't gotten, that aren't recognized because they haven't gotten bylaws or, am I about right? Yeah, I think I'm about right.
80, yeah.
So
I've lived here most of my life. Came down from Cleveland as a little kid. I lived up in the northeast part of the city, not far from the Presbyterian Church on Federal. And that's where I grew up in that area.
what area? I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Coral Ridge Presbyterian Church, that's what it's called, right?
Oh, yeah.
The big church, yeah. So in that area, in Coral Shores.
Yeah.
And
We have the president of Coral Shores on the call.
and they ultimately had a home in off of Bayview Drive, a modest home, I might add.
I live off of Bayview Drive in a modest home.
When I left, somebody turned it into a really nice home. I didn't have the opportunity to do that. But so I know the area and pretty much grown up here. I delivered flowers when I was in high school with the Cardinal Gibbons, like Mayor Siler had done. So I know the city, even doing the code work for you in the last year or so. We got to see more of the city that I did not know, and got to reacquaint myself with parts of it which I had forgotten. But I was surprised how much I really do remember Idlewild and Sailboat Bend and all the different places that are dealing with these issues and people that are basically not helping their neighborhood. And you get to work with them and say, you need to fix this, or you don't want to come back before me. Trust me, you do not want to come back for me to deal with this. And I hope I scared a bunch of pieces for a while. So we'll see how we're doing on that. And so I'm learning it. This is my third week. I've gone through one commission meeting. Dwayne has been absolutely stellar in helping out because it's learning your processes. There's a lot of different things since I was here, of course. So I'm hoping that my experience it will help, but it's a lot to learn. A lot of people, and as you well know, we're all over City Hall now. City Hall is shotgun throughout this part of the downtown. So we have the manager here, we're in another building, the mayor's over here. You have to go wherever the people are, and, you know.
Yeah, that makes it hard right there. I mean, we used to have our meetings at City Hall, but we miss City Hall.
Yeah, I was used to it. Yeah, like here I was in the code work in that building where I'd been many years before. I was comfortable with it. It had been changed for all those years, but that was all right. Still held up until the rains got us. But that's who I am. I come from that background. I know municipal law.
Well, I think we all, after hearing all of that, I didn't really know that. I think we're very lucky.
Quite a resume.
That you came back. And, you'll hear from all of us in the neighborhoods all the time. Ask Attorney Spence. He's heard it from us.
Yes.
See a couple, I don't know, only probably about 30, 40 times.
Well, I want you to know this because it's absolutely true. It's like I had a staffing interview. Now responsible for about 30 people. And it's a bigger crowd than I'm used to. And I didn't have that many people when I was a deputy here years ago. So it's just more people, different issues, but they're on steroids. There's a lot of things to deal with. And I'm enjoying it because it's a challenge. And by the time I go home, I sleep.
I bet.
I'm going to sleep. I'm out. And I'm up very early to get back in here.
All right. Well, terrific. And thank you for coming to see us on this rainy night.
Thank you for inviting us.
Yeah, you do not have to stay, or you're certainly welcome to. Wait, a question.
Of course. Sure.
It doesn't sound like you have a lot of experience.
Did I fool you with most of myself?
What's your inspiration for this position?
It's interesting because when I was the deputy, I wanted to be the city attorney. So I went and surrounded the different commissioners. At that time, the city attorney was a part-time lawyer from a law firm. He didn't work as the city attorney in-house. So I didn't go and tell him what I was up to. My wife said, "You've been doing this for 12 years. Get your ass out there and get this job." So I said, "Okay, I'll try it." Excuse my bad language. So I went to all the commissioners and come back to the city attorney to tell him what I'm doing. He went bats. He was so livid. He'd already pre-wired who he wanted to be his successor. And that was not me. It was a friend he'd known for many, many years. And I said, well, it's just not in the cards to do it. So I stayed about another half a year and went out on my own into the practice. Then about 10, 12 years went by and the city attorney job came open and I applied for that. And at that point, I knew Bruce Roberts, if you remember him.
Yes, sir.
He was in my high school. I knew Mr. Siler. I knew almost all the commissioners. And this is a good time to run for this job and apply for it. So I was doing quite well with it until I got to the point where the committee said we want the city attorney to live in the city. At this point, I had already moved out west, built a home way out west, and I couldn't disrupt my family from doing that. So I missed that opportunity. But it's always like that thing, if you know, if I could just get that job. Well, a friend of mine came to me about a year ago, and he knew the other city attorney was going to lose the job. He said, you can do this and you need to do it. And he persuaded me that it's time to come back and apply for this. So that's what I did. I've been working on it for about a year to come back here and successfully get to do that. So I had to persuade commissioners who did not, most of them don't know me at all. I had to meet each one of them. I did that, try to gain their trust. And now with the new department heads and the manager, it's a challenge to get all these people to find out who you are, and then to find out you have to be there for them. So what I'm trying to tell you is when you're looking for issues in your neighborhood, all of you had trouble, and I said, well, I'd like to ask the city attorney, but I don't want to bother him. Your job is to bother me. My job is to respect what you need to get done. If I can do it, I will try to be there. If I can't do it, I will get somebody that will help you, and I'll be a part of it. It's critical what you people do to protect your neighborhoods. And I respect that, and I'm going to be there to help you.
Here we have a question here from Bill Brown.
Real quick, and I'm going to let you off the hook on this one. Why we have Dwayne here. Can you give us a quick update? Has there been any movement on the panhandling ordinance that was under review to see if it violated the consent decree?
Yeah, we actually have outside counsel, if I can, Tom, outside counsel that's working on the draft amendment to that ordinance. So we have the injunction lifted on our obstruction of the right-of-way ordinances, and our new police legal advisor has advised PD on how to enforce that, so we can enforce that particular ordinance. But with regards to our solicitation ordinance, it's in the process of being redrafted by outside counsel in coordination with, and we have to build up the necessary data because if you recall, we attempted to amend it previously and the judge did not lift the injunction. So we believe that we'll be successful this time if we have the appropriate data to back up the ordinance changes. And so that's what we're in the process of doing. So
if I can add to what he's doing, the mayor asked us about this visit. We met with him for top issues that we are working on in the office. And so Dwayne gave that update. But I had at Dana Beach, we had a big problem with the homeless voice, Sean Canoni, I'm not sure how to say his name, right? But he would bring people in trucks, put them in the intersections, hand out the homeless voice newspaper, and solicit in the roadway for money. Consternation because of how dangerous it was for the people to be in the road, obviously. I saw what Pembroke Pines had done. They had done a similar ordinance. They based it on traffic accidents, cars versus pedestrians. Pedestrians always lost. So they did the numbers of how many people got killed, because there were a number of them, how many people were injured, and there were a lot. And they did it intersection by intersection. And then we, like they did, we established a record with BSO, and that's who we used for police officers, and made the case for here's why these intersections merit and warrant being protected so that people don't get hurt and the drivers don't get in trouble with it. And the ordinance is still in the books for both cities. So we're trying to marry some of that into what you guys are doing to help solve that.
Thank you. All right.
I have one more
question.
One more question. You go first, James.
Yes.
No, I don't have a question. There's a question on the screen.
Oh.
It's Rick.
Oh, Rick, you can. Go ahead, Rick.
Hi. And I hate to take the time because I meant to be there tonight, but we received a notice of a possible suit against the Civic Association, but it really is a city issue. Is it your department that we forward the paperwork to, or who are we supposed to send the paperwork so that you get an advance notice before these people contact you?
The law is designed that before a city can be sued, it has to be given written notice in advance. And then the lawsuit can be filed if it's able to respond or doesn't respond to the way they want it. If it's served on you, I'm not sure why it was. So I don't know if you want to send it to me to take a look at, I can try to give you advice.
No, it's not a suit on us, it's a notice of possible suit. And it's about somebody tripped on a sidewalk and was injured. So I just wanted to get the paperwork to you. Our attorney is going to respond that we're not responsible and tell them they need to contact the city, but I wanted to give you an advance notice.
Right, Mr. Buchanan, you're talking about your individual civic association or?
Correct.
Whom?
It's called Ridge Isle Civic Association.
Is it a public sidewalk or a sidewalk on a private?
Public sidewalk.
Okay, well then we would probably have jurisdiction of that. And the lawyer should have known that. If you want to send me a copy of it, I don't want to do their job with it. But I'll be able to tell you and your attorney that you don't have to worry about it. If it's a city issue, the city deals with slip and fall, trip and fall all the time, if it is a public sidewalk.
Right. Do you want us to send a notice to you, a copy of the paperwork that we received, so you have advance notice, or do you just want to wait till you hear from them?
Again, it won't constitute advance notice to us if it's not done because the law says directly to the city. That's on notice of the city. They're saying the law says there's interest, but you can send me what you have. So I can talk to your attorney to, or you, tell you need not worry about this. What if I establish it's a public sidewalk? It won't be an issue for your association.
Okay.
But the lawyer who sent the letter said they had to figure out how to do his or her job.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Thanks.
They sent it to the wrong place. That's okay.
Right.
Okay, and then, all right, then one more question, Vanessa.
I have two, sorry.
There she was sharing.
So, can we, so do you think we should email you directly as presidents or, board members?
No, you absolutely can.
Have you done that before?
Or what do you think the chain of communications be? Do we contact neighbor support and then our commissioner and then
So we generally like neighbor support to handle community issues and get it to the appropriate department because they kind of know they kind of know the issues and to whom to get it to. And I don't know if you'll have to set up a filtering system within our
and that's what usually happens. Can I have a minute, Mary? Yeah, so the email concerns usually come through to neighbor support, and then we review and field it to the appropriate staff or office, or in this case, the appropriate staff and the attorney.
Okay. So when neighbor support isn't. Okay, so we go neighbor support.
I mean, we're open door. I don't want to say that we're closing the door to you emailing us.
For example, I'm so nervous. I didn't even know that process. All that areas. So just use what we have in place. So I'm here. You don't talk to big stature. I think it is. You could reach me. I have a phone number. Here's Tom. Commercial address. And
well, I'm northwest of that, but you have to go through it.
Thank you. That's
okay. And your last question, and we're gonna let them go.
Sorry. So right now, the flooding, the rain that's happening right now until Thursday morning, I'm the president of Turbine River Civic Association and the representative for District 4. I've had about 65 calls today. Everyone's
fear of what happened.
PTSD, and they're very scared, and they're it makes me very emotional because
it's funny. I know what you all went through. You can see what your own city hall went through. It's gone.
It's gone. Trash. And they've been going.
And these people are living it. I get that.
Right, but now, like literally, the next 48 hours are crucial.
Right.
A lot of people are very much scared at this moment.
I think one thing we've learned is that the city is much better at trying to react faster with its crews to get rid of the stormwater. So whatever they can do with the trucks, this would be public works.
And I just wanted to make it known that District 4, as the representative for District 4, there's a lot of people right this minute losing it. I mean, so I just want to make it known.
I just want to mention at the last city commission meeting, the city commission addressed a number of projects that are underway. Are you aware of those?
I'm aware of those and the infrastructure and all of that, but that takes a year.
That's not going to help you today. I get that. So I think the issue is gonna go to the public works people. Is that right? Where they would try to get the water out of the place?
Yeah, so we have the emergency management system it's in place. So they've already monitored the email that we received earlier about the potential, flooding conditions.
And the King Tides married together with it.
Yes.
So they're expected to be very responsive and monitoring the situation.
Is there any
Person?
instead of reactive,
Yeah, like where are the sandbags?
proactive?
There we go. You're asking where are the sandbags?
Where are the sandbags and proactive versus reactive?
Yeah.
Because
I'm just only because I'm concerned that the weather is deteriorating and we're here.
Yeah.
So
and there's
this is not his job.
yeah. So
Yeah.
let's
So I have to go.
let's let
through
them
it
go.
to get-
Thank you very much.
It's good to meet all of you.
Yeah, you'll be back. Don't worry.
Thanks for the opportunity to come visit you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You will definitely be back. And Dwayne, again, I can't thank you enough for everything that you've
Well,
done.
thank you for all your
And don't
support
think
during
that
that time
you're
period.
not on my radar.
If I can help you, we are here. That's part of what we do, is to help people make a better life for them.
Okay.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate
That's
it.
a
Thank you
nice
so much.
way to
Welcome back.
reinforce our security.
You're doing it for your neighborhood. We're here to help you do that for your, okay? If we don't
Sounds
know it,
great.
we'll find somebody who can. All right, thanks, folks.
Thank you.
All right. Stick around.
Ms. Deputy,
I mean, no, you definitely.
Deputy City Attorney.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
All right. And
Our next.
moving right along, we're going to have a little,
Thank you.
and let me just.
Drive carefully.
Okay, good. Good.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for meeting you. All right, all right. Be careful going home. Okay, next we have Erica Johnson. She's going to talk about the reimagined City Hall. This is the future City Hall. And Erica, do you have a presentation?
I do. I'm pulling it up now.
There you go. Yep, we can see it. You got your you have to kind of picture on screen. There you go.
There you go.
Okay. There you go. Thank you.
Thank you all for allowing me to be here this evening. My name is Erica Johnson. I am with the city's Office of Management and Budget. I'm also, I believe, joined on the call by Cheryl Dickey with Dickey Consulting Services. And I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about a series of 5 workshops we're going to be hosting around reimagining City Hall. So I've heard a lot of comments over the last hour, mentioning that we don't have a City Hall anymore because of the flooding. And so really, what we're looking to do is to make sure that all neighbors have an opportunity to engage as we start to think about what a new City Hall could and should look like for the city. So we're going to be hosting in partnership with our consultant, 5 community workshops. And really the goals are twofold, but the primary goal that we're really looking to move towards is to establish a set of principles that will ultimately guide the design of the new City Hall. So when I say set of principles, I'm talking about things like what kind of spaces are we needing in City Hall? What kind of amenities would be beneficial? What are people looking to do at the City Hall as compared to what we were doing before under our existing facility? And so I really just want to emphasize that really our purpose in having these community workshops is really to allow everyone to engage in the process. We want to hear from everyone throughout the entire city. And so each workshop is actually going to be hosted in a different commission district in an effort to try to reach different folks. We're going to be doing virtual engagement, in-person engagement, really a good crosscut to try and pull all of those perspectives and feedback together. So those 5 workshops, each workshop is going to be taking place on Saturday morning from 9 to 11 in a variety of facilities throughout the city, and they're topic-specific workshops. So the first workshop is going to be talking just a brief overview and introduction of what this process looks like, and some history about the prior city halls. The second workshop will be talking about spacing allocation. And when I say spacing allocation, I don't mean, we're not looking to talk about specific office sizes and locations and things of that nature. It's really more about,
you know, in terms of neighbor to neighbor communication, what kind of spaces are needed, community rooms, general rooms for these types of, sorry,
I love Zoom. Mommy's at work right now. You have to go.
You just look.
That's usually what when my daughter starts working.
What's for dinner?
All right, I'm so sorry about that. On spacing allocation, we're talking about neighbor to neighbor community spaces. So, you know, homeowners association meetings, if you need to meet one-on-one with another community member, community to city commission interactions with elected officials, as well as city staff to neighbor interactions. The third workshop will be focused around amenities. The fourth workshop will be talking about the financing and procurement options and processes for building a new city hall. And then the fifth workshop will really just be a recap of the workshops. So like I mentioned, we're doing this in partnership with Dickey Consulting Services, as well as the Infrastructure Task Force and the American Institute of Architects to host these workshops. So it's going to be a really broad facilitation team, but I think that's going to provide a lot of really great information and perspective as we engage with the community in these workshops. So the first workshop, I think, is probably the one that everyone is most interested in because it's just right around the corner. It's going to be taking place Saturday, December 2nd from 9 to 11 at the FAU Metro Lab. So that's in FAU's campus just right off Las Olas. We're going to be talking about, you know, a welcome and introduction to the process, similar to what I'm giving you right now on what are we looking to do and accomplish. We're going to be giving a history of the last 4 city halls, just as a history on, you know, how have we evolved as a city and what types of spaces have been in those city halls. We have information and baseline data that I'm actually going to share with you in just a moment that was requested by the ITF that I think is really helpful in kind of the discussion and talking about, you know, how are people currently coming to City Hall, as well as some information and education about world-class city halls. At this point in the workshop, we're going to have a really fun, engaging activity where we'll get people up and moving and kind of interacting about what they're interested in seeing in a city hall. So I want to talk a little bit about how we're going to be engaging with the community, because understanding that we have such a diverse community, we really want to make sure that everyone is in the know on how they can interact with these workshops. And so the first is we're having what's called an Engage project page, but it's really just a page on our city website that gives some information about this project, timelines, dates, where people can come and participate in the workshops, as well as an opportunity to take some surveys online that we'll use to help guide what these guiding principles will be. We're going to be doing a social media campaign, interacting with the media such as TVs and newspapers. We'll be putting information about the mayor and commission newsletters, email distribution lists. We're sending postcards out to every single neighbor in the city, putting information in the water bills, flyers at city buildings and other high traffic areas, such as perhaps the library. Engaging with community stakeholders, such as what I'm doing right now to let you guys know about these workshops, and then also taking advantage of some of our partnerships, such as with the Riverwalk magazine, to put information in. So we understand that everyone gets their information in a different way. So we want to make sure that we're providing it in every way possible for everyone to know what's going on with these projects. So I mentioned that Engage project page. So this is what that page looks like. It's a snapshot. You can see we have other project pages like this on our city website for some of our major projects, like the Aquatic Center and the new police headquarters. So we're following that template. And you can see here, it just has a brief overview of the project and what we're looking to do, as well as some project timelines on the right. And then if you scroll down, it will have some information about attending the next workshop. So we'll update this every month as new workshops get crossed off the list and we're looking to the next one, as well as an opportunity for you to take the survey. So we're going to be taking, the survey will be open up until the end of December. And then also we'll have an opportunity if you attend the workshop in person where you can take the survey. And then at the end of December, we'll be tabulating results and sharing those with the ITF in January. And so for every workshop, we'll have a topic specific survey to really get some good data around what people are using City Hall for and what they're looking and interested in the new City Hall. So those survey questions, here they are for you. We try but we really want to maximize engagement. But the questions are, how often do you go to City Hall? And these are going to be, multi-select options. So never, once a month, a few times a year. Why do you go to City Hall? Is it to pay a utility bill, engage with staff, a community meeting? If you are meeting with city staff, we want to know which departments. And also we understand that a lot of neighbors are, interacting with city services online and rather than coming in person. We also are asking questions around, if you aren't coming to City Hall, is it because of a barrier? So maybe the hours of City Hall aren't conducive with your schedule, or parking's not available, or maybe you have a transportation issue. So again, really trying to understand, as we think about and reimagine the new City Hall, what kinds of spaces and hours do we really need to have to accommodate the needs of this community? We also have a broader question that is kind of short answer on what services do you think are important in the new City Hall? And then we have some basic demographics questions around age, where you live in regards to your zip code, district, and neighborhood. And then also asking if this is your primary or secondary residence, as we understand a lot of people live here seasonally. And so I mentioned we're going to be sharing a little bit of data and information at the first workshop. So I wanted to kind of give you guys the same information now as a sneak preview. And these were in response to some of the discussions we've heard from the infrastructure task force over the last 2 months. And the first one was really understanding where are all of our city facilities. So I know this map is probably a little hard to see on your screen, but just understand the green blocks are city parks and the red dots are city facilities. I've highlighted the ones that are really more where we have city staff and neighbors might actually be interacting with city staff or in an function. So we have our City Hall, which you guys know is centrally located downtown. We do have some staff offices now at the 101 building in Broward, which are just right next to that facility on the east and south sides. We have our transportation and mobility department, where you might go if you need to pay a parking ticket, which is about a block at northeast. We have our Southside Cultural Arts Center on South Andrews, and this is where our Parks and Recreation Administrative offices are located, as well as a handful of recreational facilities. Our development services, CRA, and housing and community development buildings are all located on Sistrum, and those are also other areas where neighbors are coming to interact with the city, whether for information or to receive a permit. So really just from this map, the key takeaway is a lot of our services and administrative functions are spread out, but they are generally located in the central Fort Lauderdale area. One of the other questions that we got was, looking at pre-flood, how many people were actually in our City Hall building? And we know that a lot of our staff is distributed throughout the city, whether it's because they're working at, a water treatment plant, or there just wasn't enough room at City Hall. So before the flood, we had just over 300 individuals working there. And I've organized this. So if you've been to the City Hall before it flooded, you know that City Commission was on the top floor. And then I've kind of arranged it in that order so that it'd be a little bit more intuitive. But our entire City Commission was located in City Hall, as well as members from a variety of other departments. And then the last thing I really want to share with you is we had some questions about, in terms of how many people are coming to pay their utility bill at City Hall. We had actually done an analysis on this earlier this spring, so we were able to bring this back to life. So for a 1 month period, we looked at the number of transactions that happened throughout the city. Pardon me for this one.
Okay.
You can see the vast majority
that was prior to the flood.
Utility bill online, but we do have quite a few that kiosk or utility billing counter. And with that, I don't have any more information to share, but if anyone has questions or feedback about the workshops, I would be more than happy to answer any questions.
Okay, we have right now, just in the room where it's 3 questions, there's 4 questions. Okay, so James, I saw your hand first.
Hey, Eric, it's Jim Labrie from the Infrastructure Task Force. Just want to ask you, when we had our last discussion, the survey questions were going to be drop downs. Is that the case still? I think you should say that if it is.
Yes, they absolutely are drop downs, and I apologize. I didn't communicate that clearly, but yes, they're drop down options so that we have one short answer question in regards to what services do you think are important at City Hall, but the rest are either a drop down or select all that apply.
It's a presumptive survey. That's not information.
All right, and then Bill Brown.
There'll be others.
Okay.
I have a question. Did you say the consultant is on the line with you?
Yes, I am.
Sure. Okay. Bill Brown, President Central Beach, member of the Budget Advisory Board. Is it your anticipation on the community outreach meetings? Are you going to facilitate them more at a strategic level and keep out of the weeds of issues like, and I think I heard about space allocation, how much cubicle spaces they need for each department, stuff like that. Because what I've been hearing, there's been some concerns that the process might get bogged down into the weeds too much. And we need there's more concern to be more global and strategic, high level.
Yes, sir. That's the intent all along. And that's what we tried to impart to the infrastructure task force, that we're not going to get down in the weeds. It's all high level, conceptual, just trying to get some thoughts from the public to share back with the infrastructure task force, and then they ultimately to the commission.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then Leanne, did you get your hand up?
Yeah. Is the location of City Hall going to be part of this process?
I'm sorry.
It has been decided
by the mayor.
It will be part of the process.
And what? So what is the decision?
Downtown.
It's going.
I don't know if you could hear that. There was a question about where is the location, and that's that's part of the process, correct?
Yes, but ultimately that decision really is going to be the City Commission. There's been a lot of discussion, and the gentleman, of course, that's on the infrastructure task force knows that was one of the questions that was asked, and ultimately that's really.
Let me ask the question again. Has the decision been made as to the location or not?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Really? The mayor told me it has been made.
No.
No. The commission gave guidance.
Okay.
And he did, so they want to keep it downtown.
Well, then it's been made.
No, because there's different properties downtown.
Okay, so John Burns.
Yes, I understand the reason for the scripted topics for the different meetings, but I am concerned that some citizens may not go to every meeting and may want to talk about a topic that you might have already talked about in a previous meeting. So will citizens have an opportunity to share their information, even though it may be off topic for a particular meeting? That's just one of my concerns, because not everybody's going to go to 5 meetings. They just might show up at 1 or 2.
So we will have an opportunity to do a recap. And at that time, perhaps we can then hear some feedback that people may not have, given the time frame. Each one of the workshops is going to be roughly 1.5 hours. And so we see that there's some time for additional input if it's needed, if people did not go to the previous. But in addition to that, people will be able to go online that are tech savvy to express and give additional comments.
Thank you.
And Donna?
My question is twofold. And number one, we didn't address the locations of the additional meetings, but I'm in the Northwest. And for most of my neighbors who are working class people to give up a Saturday and have to park at FAU is going to, frankly, to be prohibitive. Is there any consideration of
free parking and also other locations more in our neck of the woods?
Yes, so the schedule, I know it was part of the presentation. So with the Metro Lab at FAU, I know Erica is checking on the TAM folks looking at some free parking. So that is underway. And then the other meetings, the space allocation meeting is going to be at the LA Lee YMCA. They're on Sistrunk. And the amenities meeting will be at Holiday Park. And the finance and procurement process will be at Beach Community Center. So those are opportunities for non-paid parking.
So not in your neck of the woods, but free parking. So.
Yeah, well,
Central.
Factors when you're giving up a Saturday
I understand.
For people to literally east-west traffic, drive downtown. It's a 2-hour commitment in addition to the meeting.
Right.
Hi,
Okay,
I just have a question. Is it possible to get a list of that list of where the meeting is going to take place? Can you get that from them, Mary, and email it to us or something like that?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
And Erica, if you would email me that presentation, if that's okay for us to put it on our website so people can look at it.
Absolutely. And I do want to let you know that the postcards will be mailing out this week, and those will also have the dates, times, and locations of all of the workshops, as well as a link to that website that I was showing you.
Utility bills.
Okay.
Again, people who live in condos don't see.
Okay, that would be, that's good. If you, yeah, just if you would, when you have a chance, email it to me. We'll get it up. Okay. I have a question. I'm sorry. Oh, okay, Rick, go ahead.
Hi. Is the survey, the first survey up that ends on December 31st, is that up now on the city website, or is it due to be posted at some point? I have a meeting tomorrow night and I want to announce it.
So I will have to check on that with you with our strategic communications team. When I send the presentation, I can provide a response on that. I believe it is live, but I do want to double check. I'm not 100% sure offhand.
All right, thank you.
It would be cool if there is, even if you could even, because sometimes navigating the city's website is a little difficult. If there's a link, if it is live, if you can include the link, that would be very cool. Oh, that's bad. I would appreciate it. I personally would appreciate it. I don't know about anybody else. So.
Thought there were more questions.
All right. Well, thank you, Erica and Cheryl. Thank you very much. And really appreciate you guys spending some time with us. And we look forward to working on City Hall because I can tell you we miss it for sure. So,
absolutely. It's our pleasure.
Thank you.
Look forward to working with you. Yes.
Oh, okay, great. All right. Well, thank you. Okay, well, that concludes our speakers.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye, Cheryl. I'd like to get through the council business kind of quick because I'm a little panicky. So we're going to start with you, Leanne. We're going to talk about the Homeless Advisory Board. If people don't know this, Leanne is our official liaison to the Homeless Advisory Board. Plus she is on, what is the other thing that you're on, Leanne?
Oh, I've just been attending the continuum of care.
Okay, just continuum of care. So if you can just give a brief, real brief, I appreciate it.
Yeah. So it's the second meeting of the Homeless Advisory Board, and there was a very good presentation given by the Task Force for Ending Homelessness, which is the agency that's really in charge of the frontline management, commissioned by Broward County. And so they gave a presentation, and I think we'll try to get them to give that presentation here. They had a lot of statistics and things like that, and also Louise's team gave the neighborhood response. But one thing I want to say is that Broward County has decided this year not to fund the point-in-time count. Every year, HUD requires a point-in-time count of homeless people in their environment, just to kind of get a sense of what's going on. But the task force has decided to take on the responsibility themselves. And so, yes. And so they are going, so they've actually published this little flyer, and it's so for those of you that are interested, the point in time is going to be January 24th through the 27th, 2024, and that you can sign up by going to their website. Maybe, I don't know how we get this, but their website, which is taskforceoutreach.org/volunteer. And you can volunteer for all types of homeless outreach activities there. But if you want to participate in the point in time, you should the volunteer roles are the unsheltered surveyor and squad leader. Okay. And I think it's a good opportunity to, assess where we stand today.
Leanne, can I?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a little electronics. We take a picture of. Yeah. Okay.
Just send it to me.
Okay. Send it to him. Great. Okay. No questions, right? I don't see any. I guess I'm still over here. All right, we're gonna move on. Hey, can you put the can you put that P3 thing on? All right, we're gonna late last week, maybe Friday, I'm not really sure which day, we sent out the draft comments on the P3 ordinance proposal. Everybody should have gotten it, this document right there. All right, I'm not going to read the entire document out loud because you should have read it, or you can read it, at your leisure. But the P3 committee really has put in quite a bit of time. They have worked with Dwayne Spence, our, I don't know what he is now, still deputy. Okay, no, I didn't even really know that. City attorney, and they've worked pretty hard. And I have a couple comments about it. If you if you could scroll down just a little bit, and at the bottom of that page, where it talks about questions and specific additions to the proposed P3 ordinance. I mean, this is all very important what they have put in here. So I hope that you have taken a good look at this. I'm going to turn the page, and then. I mean, there's some I think are super important, like number 3, upon notification that the city manager has received an unsolicited P3 and is evaluating it, the commissioners cannot meet with the applicant. That's got to be that way, in my opinion. They're number 4, they've kind of gone through criteria for, what constitutes a good P3, and if you have anybody has any other criteria that they think is important, let me know. Just email me. Really, this is very important for all of us because we've all experienced some P3s that we're very unhappy with. Also in here somewhere, it says, a P3 cannot be approved and then morph into something else. Take Lockhart, for instance. We're still waiting for a park. And they never built their own parking garage. I mean, there's all kinds of things like that. Another thing is, if you look through here, you'll see where they talks about if a P3 has run its course, like they didn't do anything, their time is up, because they all have like a time limit, they haven't even started. They shouldn't just automatically get to, just renew. It's got to be a process. Then on page 3, there's a lot of talk about the chief procurement officer. I don't say that very well. Being more involved in the process. They are not right now. I know that we have one in the city. I don't know the person's name. I've been told I don't remember it, and I don't know him. And who knows if this person is capable of doing what is being considered here, but I think it's a good idea.
Did that idea come out of Maryland's committee, or did it come out of the city attorney?
City attorney.
City attorney, yeah. So I would appreciate everybody paying good attention to this document. Also, like draft agreement should be discussed at the city conference meeting, like more than one time, in my opinion. And That's pretty much all I could say about it. Or here it says renewals should not be automatic. That's one of the very last things. So I hope you all have taken a good look at this, because these are the P3s, you know, they can haunt us from the time they start until, you know, we're all long gone and kingdom come, and our kids are suffering with what's going on. Yeah, Donna.
Another piece that came out of the committee was the discussion of what it should take to vote to approve a P3.
Yes.
And the discussion in the committee ranged from majority, which is basically what's functioning now, to a supermajority, to unanimous, to a referendum. Like there was a referendum for Bahia Mar in the early 70s. So that's another thing that people should take to their neighborhoods for discussion. What should qualify as an approval baseline?
Okay, thank you.
So where exactly is this document now in the process? You're looking for
no. This we want input from everybody.
Oh. So that hasn't been presented back to.
No. Yeah. So this has only been presented to the council members. I mean, not the council members. The membership of the council, and I don't know why I got that mixed up. And so it's up to all, you know, anybody has any ideas or they think anything's missing. And Donna brought up a good point. I don't really quite see that in here is the way she said it, but that's important. So please send me anything that you have so I can compile it and give it back to them.
And to Donna's point, I think there's an opportunity here to have it scalable. If it's a small P3 project, it wouldn't take full majority or 5 votes, you know. But if it's a major P3 project, then it should take super majority or a referendum. If it's really a super thing, then a referendum. I think one size fit all is going to be hard to do.
I kind of second that thought. That's why I'd raised my hand earlier. I feel that if it's a smaller project, a majority would suffice. If it's a $100 million, $200 million project, I think the threshold needs to be higher. I completely second that idea.
Okay, great. I can see everybody now. No, so these are all good points. So can you, Donna and Dr. JJ, can you send me your thoughts rather than try to remember them? Okay, that would be super. And anybody else? Oh, here, I'm Melinda.
Oh yeah, I'm just curious, do we have a timeline on gathering the comments and then formally kind of revisit, re-looking at the draft and then deadline for sending to commission?
I don't have the timeline, but it's not, I mean, it's not long.
Okay.
Because it's going to go back to we want these comments, we want this kind of to be in place so it can go to the commission, be presented to the city commission. And Marilyn is not here. Marilyn is on her way to Antarctica.
Oh, wow.
I know. She's missing this great weather
She's
here.
actually on the call.
I thought I saw
Marilyn,
her.
are you on the call?
She's on the call.
Oh, wow.
I heard she got on a boat here from the flooding.
All right, well, she's on the
I did see her name. Yeah.
Marilyn, are you on the
About
call?
that, Marilyn.
Marilyn Romano, are you on the call?
No.
She was at one.
But I mean, it's sooner rather than later. That's why I would like people to comment now. And we've had some good comments in the room.
Do you want more comments? Because I have a comment.
Yes.
So when they did the P3 for the water treatment plant, we had 3 different proposals. They were all different. Had apples to oranges to bananas. They had to bring in very expensive consultant to help figure it out and put it together. Then they finally decided on something. And then when it came the real time to make a decision, that who they thought they were going to choose, they changed the numbers and costs went way up. And there's got to be some kind of time limit on this stuff. And I think that they can't just accept P3s. There's multiple coming in and they don't mix, they don't match.
Yeah.
It's too much time and effort spent trying to figure them out.
Well, the water plant, that's a huge P3.
Huge.
So yeah, huge.
They don't want to do RFPs.
Pardon?
They don't want to do RFPs.
Right.
And they think it's
yeah.
It's
I don't know
easier
why
and
that
cheaper
is.
to not do an RFP. It's
Fear.
tremendously
Fear. That was based on.
It's tremendously.
But if we can't as a city,
we're kind of losing it here.
RFP.
So I don't want to lose it here, but that is a good point. Sometimes P3 should not be P3. So, like many times. All right.
Why don't you set a date, maybe by the end of the year, maybe.
I'm just afraid I don't know what it is. And
It could be
are you on it? Do you do when is the commission supposed to have this?
They wanted to have her report, I think, the second meeting in January. That
Okay.
was, right. So that wasn't cut in stone, but that's very soon. And
underwater, it's sinking.
fire. She's waiting for the
Fire. Get the buckets out.
and she's
This
waiting
is the
for
third
the
floor.
response from the new city attorney
Okay.
to meet with the
Okay.
new
So
city.
I will put a deadline of
An arbitrary deadline, end of the year.
end of the year.
December 31st for comments.
Comments?
And then, yes.
I think you should get comments before that.
Yeah, because they gotta put it together and they probably, but you know what, they have to meet again too.
Right.
So why don't we just say a month from now? You got 30 days.
There you go.
Okay.
30 days.
30
A
days.
stake in the ground.
Okay.
Otherwise, it just drags on.
All right. I don't see any other questions, right? I mean, this is the closest one, but I get weird.
Wait, somebody's got a hand up there.
No, they don't.
Isn't that a hand?
Michelle.
Oh,
The drop up screen.
Oh wait, there is somebody here.
Michelle Jenkins.
Michelle Jenkins.
Yes, I did have a question, Mary.
Go ahead.
As I was reading through the questions on the P3, this was some, they were very good. Is there any state statutes or anything that will, I guess, hinder any things that we suggest for the city?
Well, we have to file, yes, and if you read the document, we have to follow the Florida statute 255.0651. So they're very aware of those restrictions in that.
Oh, I see it. I'm sorry. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right. And I see Rick, you have your hand up.
All right. I was just going to clarify. The statute sets a bottom line, but it empowers the city to build on top of it. So they're looking at it from that framework, that the default would be to go back to the state statute, but it's very vague and it doesn't really give any of the things that we've been talking about tonight. So that was what sparked this whole discussion because before they were doing these with no legislative authority behind it, and there was no real written rule about how they should conduct these types of proposals.
Okay.
And now they're trying to actually put it into legal language so that everybody has to follow the process within the city.
Okay, thank you, Rick. Thank you. Okay, so we're gonna give everybody 30 days to send us their 2 cents on this, and it's very important. So if you have any ideas at all or any questions or anything, please send them to me by email. That works the best for me. Okay, and the next thing we're going to talk about is our next meeting, which is our holiday party, which if everybody recalls, we usually have on the 8th floor conference room, which is not available to us anymore or ever again. So we really couldn't find another space to have it in. So we're going to have it at, and trust me, I've been in every food hall in District 1, because it has to happen in District 1. It's also going to be our social. So our next meeting is going to be a meeting, our holiday party, and a social. So that's our last one of the year, the 4th one. It's going to be a Cafe Seville. It's on Oakland Park Boulevard. They're giving us like a part of the restaurant, and we had drink for everybody and a little bit and some food. So, and it's a great restaurant, has super food. There is parking. I think you have to pay some of it. There's only so much parking. I mean, but there is parking. Some of it's free, some of it's not. So, so I hope you guys come, keep an eye out for it. It should be a good time. It won't be quite the same as what we've done before, but you know, that's the way it is this year until we have a new home. And it is on, why didn't I not put that in here?
It's the 11th.
Yeah, December 11th.
What time?
So that's a Monday.
What time? It is a Monday. We're having it on Monday.
Monday, okay.
Because with the restaurants, they can't.
Yeah.
It starts at 6:30. We want to start at 6 o'clock.
Would you tell the restaurant?
No, we'll find out what time it starts in a little while. Okay. Yeah, we'll find out. All right, and then next, lastly, I'm going to talk about the Charter Review Board. Jim, I attended because Jim was not able to attend and I'm just going to tell you what they've talked about at that meeting was basically how petitions work. Lately, there was a petition for, I want to say Snyder Park, where people went out and went through the exercise of gathering more than 1,000 signatures and verifying that they were real people and registered voters. And it brought up and followed the advice of the city attorney and brought it back. And it just, it didn't get out of the city conference meeting. It never got put to a vote. It never really got addressed the way that people felt that it should have, and for a variety of reasons. And I think this also happened before with something else, maybe Bahia Mar, where people are following directions, and it can't be any small task to get 1,000 people. Even though the city's pretty big, still that's 1,000 people. That's a lot to go around and you know, you have to verify. So there was a lot of talk about how they have and have not worked and different recommendations and what other cities do. So they have directed the city attorney, or one of the city attorneys.
Right.
Pardon?
Yes.
Yeah. And he's going to come back with recommendations. And so I think with the charter review, or not, with their recommendations all put together in one bundle. There were also a couple people that spoke from the public that had done these petitions and how disappointed they were. So what it looks like to me is a charter review committee is going to put together changes that they'd like to see or that they've agreed upon to see and present it to us probably next spring, and not just on a variety of things, but this is one of the things that they talked about. Okay. Okay.
Mary, can I
just
real briefly? I think for everyone on this call, and it was mentioned earlier by, we talked about the Charter Review Committee, ultimately the city commission. These are only recommendations.
Yeah.
And there's been some information recently put out on social media that said at the last meeting, they were successful in killing the issue that you just spoke about.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not the case, because it could be brought back up at the commission level.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where our fight on issues will ultimately boil down to, is at the city commission when they debate this.
Right, and then to the voters,
and to the, if the commission decides to send it, if
there's any revisions,
yes,
if there's any revisions, ultimately they go, it goes to the voters. So this is an early,
very early process.
It'll take us into next year. So
everything has a long way to go. Yeah,
at least up to it.
And I'm just concerned that people who know this got killed, so then they're not going to fight for it because they think it's a dead issue.
Nothing is decided.
Right.
Nothing is decided. It's simply recommendations, which can be amended.
All right. Let's talk about the minutes. Has everybody had a chance to take a look at the minutes? Are there any changes, additions? Nope. Okay. All right. All in favor? Aye.
I second.
We have you did motion and second.
Oh, I'm sorry. You moved it, you seconded?
I'll second.
I did. Bill moved it, Jim
seconded
seconded
it.
Oh,
sorry. I forgot to do that part, sorry. I'm kind of cold. I've never cold. Right now,
It's freezing in here.
Okay.
It's freezing in here.
Okay, so that's why I'm talking like that's really hot.
We should accept the treasury report too.
Okay, treasury report, which I do have. Do you want me to bring it up on the screen?
I don't think it's necessary. Nothing's really changed. So just a quick report from the treasurer. As of today, November 14, our account balance in our Truist Primary Business Checking account is $5,807. We do have one pending check still out to our IT website service provider, Gatman, for $126.5. They didn't cash it because actually the check, they moved address. So, and they didn't tell me. So the check came back, but now it's going out again to the proper address. So pending that check to be paid, and then our council PayPal account has remained the same at $1,128. We have not had any new renewals or new members in the past month since I last reported to you. We're at a total in the council accounts of $6,869. And I did attach to the report again our membership listing of all of our paid members by district, as well as the and I'll take any comments or questions.
I'll ask a question regarding percentage of non-pays, let's say this year compared to last year, or where do we stand with that?
So we have at the moment 43 members that are current voting members. I would say that we're maybe just about 7 or 8 off lower than last year. I think we made it to 50 or 51. Yeah. So so we're a little off last year's high. We did a great kind of campaign. I mean, we're still doing a good campaign, but for some reason there was a little bit more engagement with payment last year.
Yeah. Still.
But we're very close.
Yeah. About 8 off.
To that, do they, if they say they wait till next year and want to join, do they have to pick up the rears to be or to be current? So they wouldn't have to pay. I don't know what the bylaws.
If somebody hasn't paid yet for the year and they come to everything,
address that.
They should pay. You know?
Yeah. So if they pay, if they pay now, that will get them. That will be their payment through our fiscal year end, which is March 31, 2024, and then for them to be eligible to vote in the 25 fiscal year, they'll have to pay again.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they get no reprieve.
No break. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No.
That's not what the bylaws say. I think we better double check that.
I got the bylaws right here.
Yeah. So if you skip a year and don't be a participatory member, you don't have to pay the year you skip.
Oh, no, we're not saying
that.
No, we're just saying if they want to pay now.
For this year.
If they want to be a voting member and pay now, then they have to pay now.
If they want to be a voting member and we have a vote, say February 2024, but our fiscal year ends March 31, 2024, they'll pay the $50 and they'll be a member. But that's only going to, that $50 is really only good for 2 months, and they're going to have to pay again. It's just because they're participating late.
Right. Yeah, and we're now at the point where we're only notifying paid members of things like the socials or on the roster and things like that. So yeah, okay, that makes sense, Donna.
Yes.
Okay.
It just
okay.
That's it.
Any old business?
The neighbor night out is going to be in February.
Okay, so we have heard that the neighborhood night out neighborhood support night out. Is it
neighborhood support
night out? It's going to be in February. I don't think we have a date, but it's going to be in the garage like it was before. That's what we hear. That's what you've been told.
City Hall garage.
Yeah, yeah, City Hall garage. We should have asked.
That's not 100%, but that's either kind of thing.
So just keep that in mind. I really want to talk about that.
And later.
Later.
But we're gonna have to finalize it by February or January.
Yeah, we will. I think we'll figure it out.
Oh my God. Thank you.
Okay, there being no old business. I move that we adjourn. I think I'm allowed.
Just told me.
What?
You can just told me.
The meeting is closed. And everybody have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Take care of yourself. Stay dry. Everybody that's in here that's leaving to drive, please be careful.
Rain is stopping.
Rain is stopping.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you. Good night.